Hello. Um,
Mm. Hello.
yes.
Yeah, you're breaking a bit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's on my side. Can the rest of you hear her? You can just raise your hand if she's audible.
Hello. If I'm audible, just raise your hand, please. Yes, I'm
Oh,
audible. You all
yeah.
can.
Yes.
Git and GitHub. But before diving deep into it, I would like to introduce agenda. We will be talking about MLSA program. What is this to am an Alpha MLSA? Next, we will be having a small after that just to get to you. After that, we'll be having it and GitHub. Then we will after that we'll know Git commands with a demo, and then I'll explain you the difference between Git and GitHub. Last but not least, talking about some open source. And at last, I'll be sharing a feedback form that you all must fill if you what is Microsoft Launch Student Ambassador. Basically, this program is bring together like similar community, and it helps in that this motive to help others in learning and also organize such sessions. This community, everyone and outside the benefits of joining this community is that you get off 5 subscription, get Visual Studio credits, Microsoft Azure credits, and even get event support and some other benefits like swags, which everyone loves. This is the link for application chat box. If you want, you can apply via this link. There you will be asked about your personal and given 3 questions: technology and how will you and event questions answered very wisely because are the big selection criteria. And one of the questions should be answered in a video format. So just do it properly if you want. That's it about MLSA. Now, I would like to have a time with you all just to get to know you. You can join this. Just go to slido.com and type in this that link Slido. One thing, slido.com, and asked for the of the of this poll. Just give 3254670. can join it via this. Hello,
Hello.
am I audible?
Yes, yeah.
So everyone can join the. You have joined just that. What is GitHub? That will be answered. As I told you, start this poll at 7:11. Starting the poll. Which state or country are you joining us? There are as well, as far as I just yeah. Most of you are from West Bengal, I see. Okay, we shall move on to the next one. Which year of graduation are you currently in? Your first year, second year, third year, fourth year, or you are not in college? You can choose others. Have 46%, 50% people from that's great. 29 from third year and from fourth year. Oh, we have someone from changing. Okay, so I can see there are many new people since here 43% people are. That's great. You all want to moving on. How familiar are you with Git and GitHub? Like, have you used it before or anything? Basic knowledge. That I appreciate the fact that some people have basic knowledge completely. Okay, so I can now understand that most of you are completely new. Yes, you know, and the Q&A will be answered at the last, having a Q&A part by the end of the event. Back to the presentation. If you have any questions, you can use the Q&A chat to upload those questions. Moving on, now start with what is version control system. As I hope you will know that uh, I hope you all know about the versions that you have in your day-to-day application, right? Basically, that is some new updates that the developers give from their side. And once you update your application, you get the new feature. You can call these versions as adding new features to your program. Okay. Version control system is a tool that helps us in tracking these changes that we make to our program or to our application. Okay. It also helps us in collaborating with other people, and it also helps us in keeping the backup so that in case there is any glitch or issue in the and we can easily back to our previous version and correct our issues. And also it helps in us in managing projects. Basically, version control is can take an example like Git. Git helps you to maintain your projects very well, and also in collaborating with others. Like you must have heard people collaborate and projects together. They do open source projects together. So we'll be talking about it later on. Moving on, what are the benefits? So as I already said, there are benefits like collaboration. You can work on a particular project with many people. Like suppose one person is working on a project, and there are five people working on the same project. Of course, five people working on the same project will be able to complete the project more like fast than than a single person working on a project. It helps in collaboration. It helps in traceability. Now what is traceability? Suppose there were some minute changes in your code which led to a bug, so we can trace those changes using version control system. And last but not least, it helps us in recovery. Basically, if you find a bug, you can if you suppose someone wrote a code and pushed it to the public to the production, okay, and that code was published, but it had some errors in it because of which the application is not working now. Now what this version control system helps us in, it helps us to go back to the previous version which had zero to like very minimum bugs, and the version which was actually working, so we can easily recover our uh, previous versions using version control system. So moving on, what are the popular version control systems? Popular version control systems are Git, CVS, Mercurial, and Subversion. But today we'll be talking about Git because it is actually the most popular one, and most of the people and most of the companies use Git for their production and applications. Okay. Before we, I would like you all to install Git, and I'll be showing you together with you. Vinny, can you share this link? Vinny, just share the link to this link chat box so that they can go.
Hi, Kaja. I've shared it.
Thank you. Just go to this link. I hope you all are using your laptops right now because I'll be doing hands-on, and if you do it along with, then it will be beneficial. Once you go to that link, just give me a thumbs up. Just go to the link and give me a thumbs up. Just raise your hand. Cannot access the chat. I know you chat of, but I'll give you the permission that you can ask. For now, just raise your hand if you have. Start as soon as. I guess we are turning on. Once you have, once you have, uh, once you have clicked on the link, go to downloads. Now, based on your OS, you can select any one. Since I'm using Windows, I'll go to Windows. But for Linux and Mac OS, you can go to your respective OS. And suppose you're using Linux, then go to Linux. You can check for your distro. Once you find it, like most of the college students use Ubuntu. So if you are on Ubuntu, just use this uh, command and install it from the terminal. And for Mac OS, I haven't really used Mac, but there are some distros. You can read about it online. For Windows, click on Windows and go to, if if you are using 64-bit PC, then you can go to 64-bit. Otherwise, go to 32-bit. And like under the standalone installer, click on 64-bit Git for Windows setup. Okay, then you will this window will pop up. Click on save. Once it is once it is downloaded, just Yes. Once it is downloaded, click on this file. A new window will pop up. It is asking for permission. Give the permission, and this window will should pop up. Okay. This is the general license for GNU. You can just click on next. Then again, check this path of the file. Okay. Now go to next. Then you don't have to select or deselect anything. You can just click on next, next, next. Lastly, you can click on install. You don't have to change anything. Just keep clicking on next, and lastly, click on install. And now, once it is installed, just deselect this view release node and click on finish. I hope everyone has done it. If you have installed it with me, then lower your hand and we can move on to the next. Still just once you are done, so we just installed Git. Like I told, Git is the most famous one, so we'll be learning about it. Now come to code hosting platforms. I'll be telling you how to set up your Git account and all later on. First, we will like code hosting platforms, and then we can move on. The popular code hosting platforms are GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and SourceForge. Okay. Now, GitHub and GitLab are, but for now, we will be focusing on GitHub. Now, what is GitHub? Okay. GitHub is basically, as I said, it is a code hosting platform which also helps us in collaboration with other people. So this is the link for GitHub. You can simply go open a new tab and click on and type github.com, or you can go there via the link that when you paste the link.
Hello, hi Kaja. Um, your sound is somehow not clear. Yeah, I don't know if you can try and sort it. Yeah.
You can just type github.com, and once you have done it, click on sign up if you haven't created an account yet. Otherwise, click on sign in. Since I have created an account, I'll be clicking on sign in, and then give your email address and password. Sign in. Yeah, the link is there in the chat box. You can go to the link and create your own account. So this is GitHub. This is the GitHub website. So first of all, I'll be explaining you about all this. Like, see, over this side in the left, you will find your recent repositories and your recent activities. These are the repository which you have on the most. Like this one, for me, this is the topmost repository that I work on. And this is the activity that I was past week. And this part is for the advertisement of GitHub. GitHub advertises its own here. Like advertising about years 2020, which is held in, I guess. And this part here, there are two tabs here in the middle. First one is following. Here you can see in the following tab, you can see the activities of people that you are following. And in the For You tab, you can see the activities of all the people on GitHub, like uh, whoever are there. Okay, so it just randomly picks something that like once you have signed into your GitHub account, just raise your hand. So see, once you sign in, you can see this. If you don't see a new creating a new repository here, you can click on your profile picture here, go to your profile. You will see this repository tab. You can go to this repositories and then click on new. This is how you create a repository tab. Now, in here you can either take a template or you can create your own repository. I'm not taking a template. We will just be our own repository. I'll just name this as GitHub. GitHub. Okay. And in the description, you can say something about this repository, which will tell the audience what it is about. I'll just write now there are two options, public or private. Previously, the private option was for pro people, pro members, but now they have made it free. So you can either create a public repo or a private repo. For now, I will advise you to create a public repository. You can learn it, and later on you can do it private. You can add a README file or ignore. README files help you to explain about your repository more vividly. And for a git ignore file basically helps you in ignoring the files that you have in your local computer, but you don't want your GitHub. Okay, like if you are writing a C program and you want uh, run it and then upload it on GitHub, you won't, once you run it, you must have seen that a .exe file is created, but you don't want to show that .exe file on GitHub. So you can add .exe to this git ignore file, which will help you to ignore that file and it won't be. Okay. After okay, so now and you can choose a license, but we are not choosing it. It's like it just tells other that they cannot like it just tells people that they can use your code or they cannot use it. Okay. Now click on create repository. Once you have created a repository, this quick setup button tab here, get overwhelmed this from these commands. I'll be explaining you what these are. Now since we have created our GitHub account and we have also created a repository on GitHub, just minimize this tab and go to your desktop or the folder, or you can go to the folder where you want to create your like, where you want to implement Git, like initialize a Git repository. Okay, so I want to initialize that repository here. I'll be here. on in this folder, just click on this right click, and if you're using Windows 11, click on show more options and then go to git bash here. Okay, click on git bash here. This window will pop up. This is git CLI. CLI stands for command line. Okay, as you can see, my location of this folder is given here. I want to create another folder inside this folder. So to create another folder, we will write mkdir and git GitHub. Once you have written this, just press enter. See, a new folder has been created here. Okay. Now we will move inside that folder. So inside that folder, we will write cd and then git. Then you can press tab and enter. Now see, showing that we have entered this folder that has been added to the side, and how do we know that we are inside this folder? Now I will be creating a new file so that you can know that we are inside this folder. I'll write touch card, creating a txt file. You can see a txt file has been created. Okay. Now, what I'll do is first we have to configure our Git account. Okay. I hope you all this. What we will do is we will configure our account ID. Okay, wait. Before configuring our ID, I'll just explain like how Git. Okay. So you can see this. Like I told you, we created a folder in our computer. So that folder in our computer is called our workspace. This workspace is where we can create our new files, and it is it basically has this kind of location. Like I like I showed you, my location was desktop, and then I switched to my location was events, and then I switched to GitHub. Now, once you create a file here, suppose there are 2 3 files here, but you want to add only one file, then you can add it to the staging area, only that particular file that you want to commit to your local repository. Okay, that file will be there in the staging area. Then you can check if everything is fine with the file, and you can commit it. You can just commit, like there are some commands to commit your file. You can use those commands and commit it to to your local repository. This local repository is basically a repository on your own PC, and it is not it won't be able to collaborate with others on that because it's local. You can only collaborate with local on that repository. And now, if you want to share it worldwide, then you should push it to a remote repository. That is your GitHub ID. Okay, on your GitHub, you can make an ID and share your code to that remote repository so that other people from all around the world can access that. Now, suppose once you have pushed your code to the remote repository, someone else made some changes to your code. Now, how can you get those changes on your workspace? Like like if someone makes some changes on your remote repository, there has to be some way to get those changes into your workspace. that process is Git pull. Now, pull helps you to take all the new features or all the new changes and store them in your works. Okay, so that can work you can like just collaborate with others and you can share your updates whatever you have made. Okay, so this is how Git works. I'll show. These are some basic Git commands. Now I'll show you each of the commands hands on. These are the commands. Now here is my Git bash. Here is my Git bash. I'll first we have to configure our account. So for configuring our account, we will type git config dash dash global dot name, and then within inverted commas you have to give your username. Okay, so my username is Kajal1801. I'll be giving Kajal1801. Don't give Kajal1801. Your username must be different. Give the username of your GitHub account. Okay, go to your GitHub. This name over here. You have to give this name. Okay, back to this. Give your username and press enter. When you press enter, this Git will automatically configure your name as Kajal1801. And then after giving this, just you have to configure your user email. Type git config dash dash user dot email and give your email address that is with which you have created your account. Okay, your GitHub account. And after giving your email, just press enter. So now we have configured our username and our email. Okay. Uh, so we'll move on and initialize a repository in this in our folder. Okay. So for initializing a repository, you have to type git init. Okay. Once you type git init, this is a command for initializing your repository. Then this command line will tell you that initialized empty git repository in this is the location. See that in this folder we have got a new folder that is a hidden one because it is the main initialized. You should not delete this folder ever because it helps you in keeping all the tracks. Okay. Once you have done that, now you have seen like I have created a text file Kajal. Okay, but that file is empty. Okay, so first we will just write something in that file. Write something in that file from the CLI. You have to type nano and then the file name Kajal. Once you write nano kajal.txt, a new the terminal has opened some page that is actually your kajal.txt file. Now I'll write my name, my year, graduate, my current college year. That will be, and I'll add my department that is CSE. Okay, and after you have written these things, just press Control S that for saving this file, and to exit you have to press Control X. Okay, so I have exited the nano file. Now to check if my changes have been saved, I'll type cat kajal.txt. It will show me what does this file contains. Okay, this file contains the my name, my year, and my department. Okay, things are written in these files. Now we will be adding this file to our Git. Okay? So to add a file to your Git, you just have to write git add and the file name. And if you want to add many files all together, then you have to write git add dot. Git add dot will like add all the files to your staging area, and git I'll be using git add file name. I can also use git add dot, but I just think that adding a file giving its name is much better, because there might be other files that we don't want to add to our staging area. So I'll use git add kajal.txt here. Once I do this, I can check if this file has been added using the status command. Okay, so just type git status and you will see that this is a new file that has been added. Okay, so suppose I make some new changes to the file. Now I'll make some new changes to the file. Now I'll again write nano kajal.txt. I'll add, I'll also add my batch and the batch of 20, and I've added my batch and I'll save it and exit. Now if I have made some changes, check it. See, I have made some changes. Okay, this will also be reflected to my git. So to check that, we will do git status, and you can see that it is written, we have a new file kajal.txt which has not been committed, and we have also modified this file. Okay, so this is in red color because this has not been added to the staging area, and the file that is in the staging area is green in color. Okay, so we will add the new changes staging area, and yes, we have added. Now again, if I do git status, you will just see a new file kajal.txt. Now how do we commit it to our local repository? Commit it, we write git commit dash m and then your message. A message is really important while committing because it helps you to know uh, about the version of your commit, because suppose you have committed something and later on you made some mistakes, so you would like to revert recover the previous commits. So in order to identify the correct commit, you need a message with it. Okay. So I will write Kajal, and this is my committing message, and I'll click on enter. So now see, this master branch has been committed with one file which has 4 insertions. That is the number of lines in that file. Okay. So now if I check git status, will see like on branch master, nothing to be committed. Now, what is this branch master? You must be wondering what is master branch. Okay, so branches are like a feature, you can call a feature of Git that helps us in making in like collaborating with people and making our changes without any like error, like without disturbing the main branch, like the main product. Okay, so suppose there is a project in which there are two branches. One is the main branch and the other one is the master branch. So in the suppose main all the main things are in the main branch, and you want to add some new feature. but you are not sure if those new features will work or not, or if they will give some bug. In that case, we create a new branch and we work on our own changes, and suppose some other person also wants to work on some changes. Okay, so in that case, that person can also create his or her own branch and start working on on the changes. So this helps us to work on the same project at the same time. Okay, like many people can work on the same project at the same time using different branches. So first, like let's see how do we branch, uh, how do we create a branch. Type git branch and then a name. I'll give the name Kajal. It. Now once you have done this, you can see Kajal branch is created. Okay, check if the branch is created. We will just write git branch. So you can see when we press enter, there are two branches. One is the master branch and the other one is the Kajal branch. The master branch here is green because we are currently using the master branch. Okay, to shift to the Kajal branch, I'll just type git checkout Kajal. See, I have switched to Kajal branch. Okay, once I shift there, I can work on my own changes, and later on I can merge it with the original branch, that is the master branch. Okay, for now, we are moving back to spelling mistake. We have switched back to the master branch. Okay, now, so we have learned like how we can upload our changes to our local repository. Okay, now this committing was we like when we committed it, we have actually stored our this particular kajal.txt file to our local repository. Now, if I want upload it to GitHub, how can I do that? Okay. So for doing that, we will first have to add the origin, add the remote link, that is the link of this remote repository. Okay. So you can see this link, https github.com slash your username slash the name of the repository. Just copy this link and go back to your bash and then type git remote add origin and then commas paste the link. Now since control V does not work in command line, so you have to do manually like this, paste, or you can use shift insert. Prefer this. Now once you have pasted your link, just press enter. This helps you to add the remote link to this to your local repository. Now, once you have done this, just type git and then git push origin and then the branch name. Now, current branch is master, so we'll type master. Git push origin master. Okay. Once you have done it, if everything is fine, then git CLI will push everything to your GitHub, and it will say this like integrating object stuff. Okay. Once it is pushed to your GitHub and refresh the page. After refreshing, you can see that we have our Kajal.txt file here. And if I click on it, I'll the contents, the contents that I wrote earlier, and they have been published to GitHub. Okay. Going back to this. Now, there is this uh, alert called that is saying help people interested in this repository understand your project by adding a readme. Now what is a readme file? I already told. Readme is a file that helps you to explain what your repository does. Okay, so I'll add a readme. I'll not add it from here, we will add it manually from our git CLI. Okay, So I will first create a readme file, touch, create a file, we type touch, readme, and readme will have the extension of .md. Okay, so this is a markdown file actually, and a markdown has the extension md. I'll press enter, and after this, I will nano. Yeah, I can write like this. So there are some basic, can I say, some like basic ways to write and read file, like markdown file. The syntax for it for this is like the hashtag to give the heading. I'll just give the heading Git GitHub, and then to give points, you have to give a dash and write training for. Once done, just save the file and text. So this file has been saved. Now, if I check Git status, it will show me that a README file is yet to be added and committed. First, I'll add this file. Add. Oh, sorry, Git add has been added. Then I can commit it. Added. Always remember to give a sensible commit message so that you can recognize it later on. Now, since I've committed, I'll this time when I push it to my GitHub, I don't have to write that remote git remote add origin because we have already added its origin, so we can directly push it to our GitHub. We will just have to write git push in master and enter. Always remember that git push origin. After that, you have to give the current branch name. Since my current branch is master, I'm giving master. Okay. Once you enter, it has pushed all the changes. Refresh it. You see that there have got our GitHub readme file, readme.md for GitHub, Git GitHub. Okay. So now, moving on, I've covered configuration, initialization and adding, status and commit, and we have covered everything over here except the cloning part. Okay. So I want you all to go to this repository. I'm sharing the link. So I want you all to this repository, and from there you have to, once you go to that repository, just raise your hand so that I can tell you the further. We'll be working, we will be like learning about how to close the repository and work on. Okay. Go to the link and just raise your hands if you have, and like have clicked on the link. Hello, am I audible? Audible? Raise your hands if you have clicked on the link. Hello. Hello. Go to this link and let me know. Are there already? Once you go to this link, you can see this fork button. Okay. Now, what is forking? When someone has created a repository and you want to work on that repository with that person. Okay. So you can fork the file to your own account and then you can work on it, like whatever changes you want to make. And after forking, you can push your code to that person's repository. And if the person finds the changes appropriate, then he or she can merge it to the original file. Okay. So for now, we'll just focus on fork. Click on this button. Click on this button, fork button. Once you click on it, you will see this page where it's written create a new fork. Instead of in the place of owner, your profile should be I am the owner of this current repository. It's showing another organization that I'm a part of. Just click on create fork. Okay, I won't be creating a fork because it's my own repository. Once you create a fork, raise your hand. Once you have created a fork, raise your hand. There are two, and you can see the number of forks. Okay. Once you have forked it, uh, you can see this button, green button called code in your fork, not in my repository, in your own forked repository. Like your username should be here. And below that, it should be written from Kajal 1801 Git GitHub. Okay. If you can see that, then click on this green button and copy this link. Okay, this is the link to to this repository, to your repository. This instead of my username, it should be your username. Okay, just copy this link and go to your git bash. Now, once you have copied it, type git clone and then paste that link. Okay. This will help you to clone this repository that I have here, and like it will be downloaded to your PC, okay, wherever your current folder is. Now, since I have it, if I show you my folder, see a new Git GitHub folder has been created here. So I don't need this. Okay, I'll delete it. Like I'm just showing you. Like once you clone it, a new folder will be created in your current folder. It for now, but you don't have to delete it. You have to work on. Okay. So once you have done, just raise your hand again if you have cloned and forked and clone that repository. Okay, now, once you have done this, I would like you all to add a file of your name. Like I have added kajal.txt. You have to add another file. Okay. So I'll first of all, you should what should I? First of all, you should create a new branch, or you can do it in the current branch as well. It depends on you because it's your repository, and I will see if I want to like add your changes to my or not. Eight people have done it. So let's uh, okay. I'll show you how to do it. I'll create my own another branch and show you how. I already have a branch, I guess. So I'll check out. So I'm in my Kajal branch now. Okay, this one is the master branch. This is not the Kajal. Once I'm in the Kajal branch, I will add another file. You have to just do it with me. Create a file, touch, as well. You have to write your name. Touch your name and then txt. And then nano. Inside this file, you have to write your name, then your age, your graduation year. Graduation year. You just have to write your name and your graduation year and save it. After you have done this, git add that file, then git commit added. Yeah, once you have done this, you have to for the commit message you have to write added and your name. I'll just write this one and enter. So this has been committed to your local repository. After this, uh, to git push, then first you have to add the git push. Since you have cloned it from the GitHub, so you don't have to add your remote again. And simply git push or git push and then card. You have to do git push kajal, git push origin card, the current branch name, and once you do it, see, I can see a compare and pull request. Okay, so you what you will see is that here it will be written this, or here it will be written that this file, this repository is one commit ahead of your of the like original repository. So you should create a pull request. For creating a pull request from your end, here I guess you will find a button which will here I guess you will find a button that will tell you like you can wait, just I was working it. this is the file that I forked from them. And here, yes, this this branch is one commit behind. So okay, this branch is, I have not updated my branch, that's why it's one commit behind. Now when you do it, you will see one commit ahead of the original. Okay, so you can click on contribute and then open pull request. Okay, now what is a pull request? Suppose you are working with someone, like you are working with me currently, and you have made some changes to the repository, to your forked version of the repository. Now if you want to put those changes to my repository, which is the main repository, you will have to open a pull request where you are requesting me to pull the changes and add it to my repository, the changes that you have made. Okay. So just click on open pull request, and then you will see a you will see a page where it will ask you for a like pull request message. Then write your name and then just click on open pull request. It will be somewhere over here. Okay. Just click on open pull request and I should get a pull request. Now, when I click on compare, yes, you will see this kind of page like open a pull request. Okay. Here you have to write your commit message, like my commit message is added Jaiswal. I'll use that only. Click on create pull request. Once you create a pull request, this in this pull request tab, I'll be able to see pull requests. Okay, the different pull requests that you make. If I click on one, now this you won't be able to see this one because I am the owner of this repository, so I can merge the pull request. I only have this power. Now, what is merging of pull request? Merging of pull request is basically like I said, like if I find your changes are appropriate, then I can add them to my repository. To add them to my repository, I will have to merge them. Merge them, I'll just click on merge, and yeah, here you can see this the merge messages, merge pull request #1 from Kajal. From here, it will be your ID and your branch name. I'll just click on confirm merge, and it has been merged. Okay. So once you merge the pull request will this, and you can see how many pull requests have been created. If I come back to code, you can see the new file jaiswal.txt file is also. I would like you all to make your changes and then send me a pull request. I'll merge them to my own file, and later on you can check it from here. Okay? And also, I'll be sharing a resource where all the commands and everything will be written. It will be a GitHub file on GitHub repository. I'll be sharing it after this event when we are done with everything. Okay. I hope everyone did this. If you have any questions, you can add it to the Q&A. We will be answering it at the end. That was all about like all the commands that we could use. You can check it over here. The ones who are already doing task can continue, and like you can continue it later. For now, you can see what I'm showing you. Okay. So we have covered all these configuration commands. We have covered initialization and adding files. We have covered status and commit. We have covered these uh, commands as well. Now it's for pull request and merge. I've also explained about this. I'm just telling like in a brief. Like fork is making a copy of someone else's repository, like you made a copy of my repository just now. And pull request is basically like committing your set of changes so that the person from whom you have forked can see that you have made some changes, and if they like it, they can merge. Merging is combining the various versions of a file or folder. This means that like whatever changes or whatever new branch has to give to the main branch, You can add it from here. Okay, then merge. Like I showed you right now, we have merged different changes to our original. That is merging. On. Okay, so we have done everything using Git and GitHub. Now, what is the actual difference between Git and GitHub? Must be wondering that. Okay, so the most like the most important difference is that this Git is totally focused on version control and code sharing. Like we use Git for implementing version, and GitHub is basically focused on like source code hosting. We host it on the cloud using GitHub. Okay, and other difference is that Git is helps us in maintaining a local repository. This local repository, as I already said, is only on our PC, and we can share it with people around us using a server, but not with not with remote, not remotely. Okay, for sharing our PPT remotely, we have to use GitHub. It helps us in like sharing the code with people all around the world. Okay, so that's the difference between Git and GitHub. Moving on, we have what is open source. You must have come across this word at least once in your life, like once since you have started your college life, that people are doing open source projects and all. What is open source? Open source is basically, what can I say? It's a thing that helps you work on different projects in different organizations, and it's open to all. Like you can, like, suppose there is a company which works on a certain product. Okay, so that company has kept its source code and everything private, then that is not open source. Now, suppose there are other companies like, if you know about Linux, Linux is totally open source. That means anyone who has the knowledge can contribute their set of changes to Linux. And if the maintainers find those changes appropriate, they will merge it to the main repository. Okay, so that is uh, like uh, like open source, and anyone, like even you can contribute to, but you should your contribution should be okay. So there are some open source programs which help you learn more about open source and help and like participate and contribute other companies. Okay, so some of them are GSOC. You must have heard about this. This is Google Summer of Code, which helps young developers to work on real life projects in open source world. Then there is Outreachy. Outreachy is also an open source program which helps you to work on real life projects. And then comes Hacktoberfest, which is currently going on. Like it will end on 31st of October. Hacktoberfest is basically a fest that is celebrated in the month of October every year. It is organized by Digital Ocean, and everyone who is able to merge 4 PRs to any repository. So PR means pull request, as I told you, like you have to send a pull request, and if the maintainer merges it with their repository, then that will be counted. If only if that repository has the Hacktoberfest tag. Okay, so using that, you can easily participate in this Hacktoberfest by merging your changes. And if you are able to merge 4 changes, then you can get a t-shirt, or you can help them in planting a tree. It depends on you. Okay, that's all about open source programs. We are almost at the end of this presentation. Now is it's the Q&A time. I would like Winnie to take over for the Q&A. Winnie, hello. Hello, Winnie, are you there?
Hello, hi Kajal. Yes, I'm here.
So I would like everyone to send your questions in this Q&A tab.
Okay. Meanwhile, there are some questions which were asked on the Slido. Yeah, I think I can tackle those as we wait for more questions. How about
Uh,
that?
yeah, we have some questions of
Okay. Yeah. I think you've tackled majority of them, like what is GitHub and what's the difference between Git and GitHub. So I think whoever asked those, you received the answers quite well. And then in which month does the MLSA term start? So for you to apply to be a Microsoft Launch Student Ambassador, you can apply anytime. The application is open throughout the year. However, you guys are only onboarded, like you're selected on a quarterly basis. So the previous 2 quarters were there are those who are onboarded in July, and we have others who are recently onboarded on October. Yeah. Uh-huh. Then the other question is, will I get certificate after going through the seminar? Yes, you will receive a certificate after going through the seminar. I and Kajal will share the certificate to you. And the session has been recorded, and I think you'll be sent an email depending on all the attendees who attended the call. Yeah. Um, do you have any other question on the team's part?
no, this question, like what's the difference between Git and GitHub, is already answered by me. So, and if you have any other questions, you can drop it in the Q&A. Otherwise, we can move on. If you don't have any other question, just raise your hand.
Hello. Do we have any other question? I somehow dropped off.
I guess they don't have any more back time. Share with you. If you want a certificate, then you must that form and sending the certificate by the end of day, like before 12. And you will also receive recording with that. I'll be playing the whole recording and then I'll share it with you. Just add that feed. Yeah, is there. Just fill the form. Try to give your details early. I hope after launch Git and Git dancing like then tell everyone that I've learned